Dooley TV. Joining me today from Lumina Investments is Awadalla Dooley. Welcome.
Thank you, Alex. Hello.
How are you today?
Fine, thank you. Very well.
So, we'll start by asking what commodities have sparked your interest this year?
Well, I think all commodities markets have been relatively interesting this year. There's been a lot of movement. We don't invest directly in commodities per se, but obviously they affect all the markets in which we invest in, so we keep a close eye on them. Particularly oil and gold we've been keeping a close eye on, as well as some of the industrial metals, so silver, aluminium, copper.
Oil has taken a dive recently. What do you think of its future?
Oil is a tough one because oil is relatively politicized, obviously. So we think with the recent oil prices, obviously due to US shale oil coming onto the market, as well as Saudi Arabia and other OPEC members deciding to not reduce their production. So they're leaving the taps on. Many of these people, many people in the market believe this is obviously a concerted effort with the US and OPEC to keep oil prices relatively low, thereby perhaps hurting the Russian and Iranian economies, And so it's a relatively politicized subject, and I don't think it's something. The price of oil right now does reflect obviously global supply and demand, but there's a reason that supply is being maintained at this high level at the moment. So it's a tough one in terms of being an investor who wants to invest in a market that's obviously being influenced by external factors, political factors. So it's in for a bumpy ride. I think it will continue to stay low for the moment as Saudi Arabia and OPEC continue to maintain pressure on Russia and Iran. But it's a tough one to invest in. It's a tough market at the moment for investors to look into.
I guess it's just wait till the geopolitical tensions calm down.
Exactly. Wait and see what happens. Yeah.
Well, talking about gold, you said you had an interest in it. Well, that's on an up. And what about gold and other precious metal?
Gold has been also on a relatively volatile run because of, we had the recent Swiss vote. So there was a lot of speculation that Switzerland would be in the market to buy a large amount of gold. That never happened. On the other hand, one of the largest consumers of gold, the Indian market, has repealed certain restrictions that they have on people buying gold, so on gold imports. So in general, this has been kind of, these effects have counterbalanced each other, and gold has had a relatively good performance. When we're looking at precious metals, or if we look at metals, other industrial metals as well, such as copper, there was a recent Senate report out which accused a lot of the big banks in the US of kind of artificially maintaining these prices by holding reserves which were larger than the amounts that were allowed for them to hold by the Fed. So they exceeded the reserve amounts that they were allowed to hold in physical metals. So there has been a lot of manipulation on both, especially in terms of, when we're talking about aluminium, copper, silver, Gold in and of itself, perhaps less so, but there has been some. First of all, there's the aspect of people running to gold as a store of value. On the other hand, the Swiss vote did kind of put a worry in people's mind that central banks in general will no longer be looking to gold as a way to hold their assets and as a way to hold their reserves. So it's another one where, perhaps it's better to wait and watch at the moment and not enter the market until we kind of see a clear direction.
Is there anything that is definite for the next few months at least?
Well, it's definite that commodities are going to stay shaky at the moment. It's going to be tough as an investor looking to invest into commodities. The one thing we would be looking at is perhaps increasing in general our dollar-based assets. Also, it depends. A lot of the decline currently in commodities also does come from the dollar increase as well. I mean, we've had the dollar showing recent strength, and a lot of these commodities are priced in dollars. So we would be looking to increase dollar-based assets, but perhaps more in terms of equities or other asset classes. We wouldn't necessarily be looking at commodities at the moment.
Thank you for coming in today to explain this to us.
Thank you, Alex.
So you heard it here, commodities are still going to remain volatile, but keep checking in with Dooley TV for the latest on the investment market. Goodbye.